Hello, everyone. I'm Ronan and Chain, and welcome to Bottles and Breaks, a Last of Us podcast. I'm your host, and we got Samuel Leggett, and we have Gianni Bravo. Muchachos, how we doing?
Tired, but I'm good.
Doing good, man. Doing good, man. I'm happy to be here as always.
I get it. I understand it. But folks, it is the following day after episode cuatro of season 2 of The Last of Us, and just give you a heads up, y'all. If you have not seen the episode yet, we are talking spoilers. And, for better or for worse, we're going to have to be talking spoilers about the game as well. But we'll try to do our best to, not expose too much in the future, but do comparisons and the positives and negatives of balancing an adaptation. So let people know, share the enthusiasm, let people know that we're live. Comments, if you have any comments down below, we'll get to them. I know we have some already early on with Teague O'Neill saying, first, let me say this: Jeffrey Wright knows how to play a very bad person to perfection. Secondly, Isaac should never be left alone near a guest of hosting prisoners. Again, that's, we will get into that. I just switched up to the next stuff. How Tina finds out Ellie is immune to the game, traversing a spore-infested area where Ellie's mask is damaged here because she used, yes, her right arm for arm shield. Protect Tina, action priceless. When Ellie didn't turn after being bit, means that now Tina, don't tell me the guardians of her secret. Yep, we'll get into that. Trust me, T. We're gonna get into that. Man, there's a lot to unpack with this one.
It's a beefy episode.
Yeah, and it starts off in a way cold opening, man. Like, I'll never forget that opening in Indonesia from season 1 with the scientist realizing what's happening and then getting the information and says, "What do we do?" Bomb. In a different way, we spend time, muchachos. We spend time with Fedra, and someone that's near and dear to my childhood makes an appearance alone, not with his TV brother. But Josh Peck opens up the episode with Fedra crew, talking about how he sees, the voters, the citizens of Washington, and you have this very nonchalant, almost like Full Metal Jacket vibe in Washington, like those Vietnam movies are like the soldiers that just gone and be like, yeah, fuck the Viet Cong and whatnot, if you will. Like, it has that very much vibe, and you hang out with these like dudes who are just like, it's another day of the clock. And then first time I saw it, I'm like, there's a guy with a mustache. I'm like, is that Isaac? And then you just hear Jeffrey Wright's legendary voice, because we stole it, because we took the rights and whatnot, and just lets it all out. How do you guys feel about that introduction and that scene going into it?
I think it was a perfect introduction to Isaac. I think if you're not a gamer, it perfectly lets you know what he's about. Like, he's got a code, but at the same time, it's very duplicitous. From you think about ethics, like he bends them to what he tempers to be the right thing. Because very quickly, I mean, he was there just with those guys, and you don't know whether or not the intent was to get rid of them, or if he had made a split decision last minute, like, oh, let me go ahead and take care of this. But I think the defining thing about that moment is how he inducted the rookie to ride along with him moving forward, and the rookie was just like, you know what? I ain't trying to die. I'm gonna listen to him. He's right, whatever he says. But I think that Jeffrey Wright was cold in that scene. Like, it was a great opening, and I think it was a great checkout for a moment to go back in time to kind of see like his small little humble beginnings, because those are certain threads that we never got from the game as well. I think that's one thing that's really dope.
Yeah, I feel the same. Johnny?
I mean, I think I've been preaching since we got the first trailers of the season.
Yes.
I was like, I want Isaac. I want Isaac. I want Jeffrey Wright. And finally getting him was just awesome. I think I said during last week's episode that I thought the cold open with Tommy and Joel in a way was like maybe my favorite cold open of the show. And then I think they went up to this week. I thought the cold open with this episode was amazing. I'm same boat as you, Ronan. Drake and Josh was my shit as a kid. So seeing Josh Peck just randomly pop up at the beginning of the episode was funny. I thought he did a really good job with the limited little role he had. I thought that was like a really good person to cast in that. But he's just kind of doing, like telling a stupid story with like the different like impersonations and stuff he was doing. I actually thought it was funny in like a fucked up way where it's like, yeah, just kind of a bunch of dude bros in the back of a truck kind of on their way to go ruins people's lives and shit. Like I thought it was a really good scene. And then yeah, I think about halfway through that scene I realized that was Jeffrey Wright just sitting in the corner because I think his visor's down for some of the scene or something, so you can't really see his face.
Yeah.
But then I noticed him in the corner. I was like, oh shit. I was like, he's there. And I was kind of just waiting for, yeah, like you said, his iconic deep voice just to kind of kick in. And then I just love how everyone's just kind of scared shitless of him in the truck too. Like not just because he's like their commanding officer, but just like, I don't know, just as soon as he started talking, even Josh was like, oh, like my bad. Like I didn't think. He's like, yeah, of course you did. You don't think. Just a little like I was like, oh man, this is great. Yeah, just a really, really cool cold open. I like how, yeah, just no emotion change, whatever. He just, you know, he goes and meets the WLF, or the beginning of the WLF at the time, meets their leader, does a little handshake, just nonchalantly walks back to the truck, throws a couple grenades in there, closes the door. Like just all just like so matter of fact. I was like, this is awesome. Then dude just falls out the car, just gets his gun, just blasts him. I was like, yeah, this is a perfect introduction to Isaac. I was like, this is the stuff I wanted in the game, and I'm a fan and I feel serviced. I was like, this is perfect. This is what I wanted. I was dying for more Isaac stuff in Last of Us Part 2. I've been saying nonstop on this podcast over and over again, I can't wait, I can't wait, I can't wait. And now that we got it, I'm a very happy boy. I'm very happy.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're going to get more and talk into more of Isaac, but I know someone who was just as shocked as us two about Josh Peck and his cold opening. Busy Brown himself. How you doing, Busy?
Hey, what's up? What's up?
Yo.
How's the recovery from Japan?
It's all right, man. I'm all over the place. My sleep schedule sucks, but you know, I mean, it was worth it. I mean, it was Japan.
Yeah, folks, go see any stuff that Busy might have dropped during our visit to Japan. That was wild, and you'll see him other stuff here eventually. But the cold opening, Josh Peck, Jeffrey Wright unleashing the wrath of Isaac. What'd you think of that opening, Busy?
I mean, I think it's pretty cool to show more of his past. You know, like I mean, it's always great to see like all these leaders, you know, in a lot of shows, but we don't often get to see kind of how they got there. So to see like the transition from what was a Fedra to the WLF was it's pretty cool. But I thought it was kind of surprising to see that Josh Peck cameo. But you know, I feel like this man just pops up everywhere now and then. But it's just it was fun.
Good for him, man. Like
Yeah.
fucking Oppenheimer, Oscar.
I was about to bring up Oppenheimer. Yeah.
It's like
It's
I
funny
remember when Bill Burr was doing that, right? He did all the Breaking Bad stuff, and then he did Star Wars. It was just like it's good for them. Like good for
Kind
them.
of funny because his like Drake and Josh co-star appeared in another show the same week where they're like straight up referencing Drake and Josh and all that stuff. So it's just
Really?
funny that she was in like Suits LA where she was playing herself and they were trying to like represent her and all that. And they're like, oh, you've been in like mediocre television, and he's like, yeah, why don't you guest star in like Drake and Josh again? And she was like, it's a recurring role. And it's just like nonsense. It was fun.
Oh my god. But yeah, you instantly realize that like Isaac is fed up with the way stuff has been, and at first we're not realizing that this is a meetup, but he states this exchange of like, all right, I'm quote unquote turning myself into y'all, the cause, and like we hinted at, he just drops the grenades on this the quote unquote frat boys of Fedra, and just boom, and then he tells this guy that like I'll show a picture later on, like, all right, now make your choice, like. And I think I even love how in the making of podcast they said those guys are long gone. They're not, redeemable, saleable. He chose the one guy that was curious and wasn't familiar with stuff. It was almost like first week for him. Like, all right, maybe he could be of service to the cause.
Young enough to mold.
Yes,
and I like that detail too, because it's like, I like how he asked him like, why do we call them voters or whatever, and no one even knew why. They're just there, just doing terrible shit, and they have no reason why they're doing it. It's like they're just doing it to do it, kind of just following along and not really thinking like Isaac says in that scene a couple seconds out later. But I thought that was just like a good kind of just showing of like, yeah, a lot of people in the world, like they just don't think about what they're doing. They just do terrible things because they don't even know why they're doing it. They just do it.
No, yeah. And again, I love how it was going back and forth between bleakness to Jeffrey Wright to
The contrast
Bella and
between tones a
Isabella.
little bit. Yeah.
And it cuts to back of like Ellie and Dina roaming around Seattle the first day. And I couldn't find an image, but they go through this pharmacy. And again, it's a deep cut from the game. And Dina says, I have to pee. Give me a sec. And instantly, and me and Busy caught it, like, during last week's episode when she threw up. We're like, she ain't throwing up because no dead bodies. Like, nah. She's used to that. She and Ellie have a code on stealth mode. Come on now. Like, she ain't throwing up about no body. And the fact that they didn't show what she got was just like, mwah. Like, that is nice detail of telling a story. And even when she got on the horse, I caught it the second time of like, ready, people to kill. And that look on her, just like, my life just changed. Just boom. And you see them riding Seattle. You see all these flags being caught up. And, like, what's up with all these rainbows? They're probably optimists. And it's fascinating the timing they chose to put the set back of 2003. It went down instead of 2013, which it changes where we were as society. And later on, you fuckers better tell me what's up, of accepting somebody that wasn't in the norm, if you will, of Americana norm specifically. So I found that very intriguing that they bothered diving into that aspect. What you guys think of that? Because I was like, oh, and again, even the tank thing, oh, like Apollo 11, the bodies, and it's just like, again, hinting at stuff that's going to come down the pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of foreshadowing. I mean, one of the things I love about the show in general, and I thought that about the first season, is the architecture and the set design. The set design is immaculate. I don't know how they were able to replicate. I mean, and I noticed it in the first episode, looking at Jackson. It's like insane what they've been able to accomplish. But when we finally had them start to take their trek between her and Dina, I was like, this is even the whole entire episode, to be quite honest with you, every small little beat that you remember from the game, point to freaking point. I was kind of just like, even certain areas that you in the game that you play, you go back to certain areas through playthrough or just because of certain setting situations. I'm like, dog, they don't even realize what they about to get into. They don't know where this is leading into. They don't know the depth that's about to come. So it's a lot of foreshadowing for us as gamers. I think that it probably enticed us. I don't know what a normal person watching this feels with it. They probably like, oh, this is cool. Like, this is, put a lot into it, but they just really don't know. There's so much emphasis on you're having to figure out how to navigate this. And they haven't even been in a situation up until this episode where they were truly possibly going to be cornered. So yeah, I love how they're foreshadowing where things are about to go.
Anybody else want to talk about the rainbows?
I thought it was pretty funny, honestly. That they even talked about it, like in a podcast too, how it's kind of like ironic that like they have two gay characters like walking around and see gay pride flags and just have no idea what it is. So I just thought that was kind of like a funny little like, oh, bunch of optimists, and that made me laugh. I thought that was funny. And then yeah, the set design, again, we talked about it last week, but it's not just like that they nail the set pieces that they need to nail. It's like they nail the in-between pieces too, where it's like that tank and a lot of the places where they're just walking around. Even like the shot of like Seattle Day 1 when that pops up in the opening scene, it's just like, dude, like they don't even just nail how the big set pieces look. They just nail how everything looks. Like at every single location they go to in the game, it's like, oh, that reminds me of like this little place you walk by, or like this little place you're at for like a minute or something. Like it's unbelievable. And then I liked a lot of the I felt the dialogue a lot this episode too. I noticed was like a lot of dialogue that you kind of just hear in passing when like you're walking around in Seattle, like, oh, those assholes killing other assholes. Like I don't feel bad for him. Like I remember Ellie saying something like that when you're just walking around Seattle, like, and then yeah, the foreshadowing with the astronauts. Like yeah, I thought a lot of the dialogue with Ellie and Dina was really, really good.
And that transitions to a dialogue through a different type of medium of communication, music. Dude,
Oh,
we get to the fucking vinyl
man.
store, man. And I was already flipping out.
Yeah.
And we get to these shots, and Ellie finds a guitar. And dude, it's not even in the game, but like this shot is very much from the announcement trailer
Yeah.
of like Ellie
absolutely.
tuning in the guitar to sing Through the Valley. And I mean, fucking like you could tell Craig is a nerd. He's a nerd for the details. And again, this is like right out of the game and concept art. Even concept art, they got the lighting right, the looming darkness in her clothing, the brightness of the guitar. I just love that, and I'm so happy now that again there's a new interpretation of hearing that a cover of that song. You got obviously the creators themselves. You got Ashley's take, and now you have Bella's take, and she has such a beautiful voice. And again, it's that beauty and tragedy of like that she's seeking blood, and yet there's this humanity and like innocence in her right now that's being displayed. And I just love that like they showcase it like that. And seeing Dina's reaction, like, come on, play it. I was like, oh fuck you guys. Like, oh, just anyway, I mean, please, boys, talk about it. What do you guys feel about that? Because it was just again another like, yep, perfect. They nailed it.
So I don't remember for sure, but I can't remember when Ellie did play. Did Dina cry in the game?
I don't think so. What's weird in the game, and for those who don't know, because we're also talking spoilers, in the game, this sequence is missable. You could literally be roaming through Seattle and you could have missed this.
Yep.
And again, this is something that like you have to be scavenging and looking through each corner that you would find this sequence and a character moment. But in the game, Dina even isn't looking at her directly. Like
she's looking at like a slant.
She's looking on the side, almost like like because again, and by that game timeline, they already got together. They acknowledged their love for each other, and so that was just a girl being like, "Oh my gosh, my baby's singing right now," and like to the side, but she wasn't. Again, the thing that you allude to is that this was the moment that Dina realized, okay, she's the one. She's the one. Jesse, I love him. He's a good dude, whatnot. But like, she is Captain Wyoming is on fine, all, but she's the one. But also, and I don't know if she even thinks about like beyond this revenge thing that we both want. Can we save our souls to that, or is this the last good time we're gonna have? I don't know, but no, I don't think she.
Yeah. The only reason why I asked is because the actress playing the role of Dina, she just sold this. I mean, she's been on fire, bro.
Like all season, bro.
Like
Isabella Merced is like
this isn't nothing new for her, bro. She's cooking.
She's just in her bag. But this episode was essential because you had to sell not just their chemistry, but their love, right? Like there's a lot of circumstantial stuff that they went through in this episode that, if in an apocalyptic situation and the amount of trauma they both had to go through, the people they've had to actually kill on their own, this is a lot. But to have this specific moment, and for us as gamers, just so special, right? It was almost like she was admiring the moment like we were. It brought her to tears. That's kind of where I got from it. Because even in the way that they had her front facing, it was like that's how we would feel as gamers. Like we lost Joel, right? But through this moment, we're seeing what he's instilled, the good things that he's instilled in her that are still bleeding through. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's the other big thing. That as far as the translation of the game versus the show, I feel like they've shown how Joel has prepared Dina, not necessarily for his passing, but for her to be prepared to be an equal for Ellie on so many different levels. Even in the way that, Dina knows that Ellie be lying. She just accepts it. She don't even have to say anything. Like, we doing this? Okay, bet. Whatever. I'm good. We can do it. But I love that. Busy, you were saying something. I forgot. Sorry about that.
No, I don't know. I don't think I was saying anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like I mean, that's like one of the scenes that just has to be in the show when you're adapting
Yeah.
part two. Like that's just one of the scenes from that game, and like we all said, like it just got nailed to the T. Like, like we said, the camera angles, the lighting, everything, and it's funny you said that, Ronan. Like I had the exact same thought after this episode in particular. I was like, you can tell now more than ever that like the people that are making this show love this fucking game as much as we do. Like I got that from this episode more than maybe any other episode. I'll touch a little bit more on it later, but like you could just tell like no, the people that are making the show played this game, love this game, care about this game. Like cuz yeah, the little camera angles and everything like just I don't know, man. Like Ellie with the guitar is iconic just in any sense. Like it's just iconic imagery to the series. And yeah, it hits the games, it hits the concept art, it hits the reveal trailer. It hits everything you want it to hit. Bella did an amazing job in the scene. I forget if it was the podcast, like behind the scenes or both, but they said how Bella actually plays the guitar and learned the song and everything. So that's a nice little touch too. That kind of just makes her more like Ellie in my eyes.
Yeah.
So that also I thought was a nice little detail. And then yeah, Isabella definitely brought a little bit more emotion to it than maybe in the game. Because like in the game, you can see Dina's eyes maybe get a little teary eyed or something, but she's not full on like sitting there crying. Like so, like it definitely added a little bit of extra sauce to that scene a little bit. And then yeah, bringing up Joel at the end was a nice little kind of bow tie on it. And to me, that's kind of like the last like kind of calm before the storm for their journey. Where like from here on out, that's pretty much one of the last sweet moments they're gonna have. Pretty much. So yeah, I just thought they nailed that scene.
Yeah, and again, it's a remix. Like our friend Joel likes to say, it's a remix of what we know in the game, and you can still appreciate both versions.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not mistaken, in the game, Dina recognizes the song, and it's like I think it was one of the first times they hung out. They're like, "Oh, you played that song when we first hang out during that camp sequence, or where we were, we were at a fire." When again, kids in Jackson did this, and there was a reference to that song. But I love that in the show from season 1, whether it was the trailer that we reacted to on the channel, where we hear "Take on Me," whether it's Left Behind, where right when they hit the mall, her and Riley are like messing with that song. The fact that she has the cassettes that I'm presuming Anna left her behind, no pun intended, left Ellie for, and even the finale, cold opening with Anna, the one besides giving birth to Ellie and being the first one to fight for her, right before she has to give her up, she's humming to her in a very like lullaby way. The sun isn't always gonna shine on TV, which is another Aha song. And so again, Aha, like Pearl Jam, has a deep connection to this game.
Yeah.
And a shot that I was shocked that they would showcase is this one. I'm like, yo, this is already like
foreshadowing,
laying, stuff.
Dog.
Oh,
crazy foreshadowing.
Emotional damage.
I just love how
Exactly.
important music is when it comes to not only the game but now the series.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the Valley of Death, but them not having her specifically play it, but then it being used in a different, sense with it being sung by a specific someone. So it's pretty cool how kind of impactful they still make music even for the show.
And Gustavo's score too. I'm pretty sure that the score they played when they walk into the store is what you hear when you're in the store in the game. Like I even like hearing that, where it's like where they choose to use the same score, or where like they'll maybe go back to like a classic, or just how the new music they make, the songs they reuse, or like songs they put in different spots. Like it's always just I agree. Like music's always been very important to The Last of Us, and it's really interesting to see how they even change that around too, along with like the story and the beats and stuff. So
yeah, Teague O'Neill says, while this episode and the previous 3 are all 50 to 60 minutes episodes, they are also layered. They feel like 2 hours of content, be it story, character, or the set themselves. I agree with that notion. Yeah.
I mean, even Craig, I think in the podcast too, said like, we're not really making episodes of TV. We're making movies. That's why there's such big gaps between seasons. And I was like, yeah. I was like, when watching season 2, I was like, yeah, I fucking see that a little bit. Like, it's crazy. Like, these episodes are huge. Like, so yeah, that's yeah.
And again, to the director, Kate Herron, shout out to her. Because she cared about Ellie and Dina's relationship. She directed all 6 episodes of season 1 of Loki. That's where I know her from. And so kudos for her to getting this job. But also, again, love, anger, hate, danger, hope looms in this world. And as soon as this scene ends, we're back to El Jefe of the Wolves. And I'm telling you, this monologue of cooking, I've never been like, this is fucked, man. This is like talking about all these pans. And like one day I told myself I would own them. And it happened. Just didn't expect, one of the weird benefits from the apocalypse. And kudos to the sound design team where you can hear the chains a little bit in the background while this shot is being played out. And you see that a Seraphite is being held hostage, prisoner, and being tortured by Isaac himself, wanting information of when the next attack is, and the ideology of how he treats this young man, and telling him like, you attacked us, no, you trained your kids to shoot at us. He's like, you forced us, so you broke the truce, and that thing of like, you broke the truce. Like, I'm not playing your chicken and egg game. And it's just like, that is the whole. That line cements what the fuck is going on in Seattle. And it was very, very disturbing to say the least. And you see how these guys are testing themselves, the will of torturing and taking it all in, and how even in this individual's belief in, feel her love, and how he lays the pan, and you see these guys guarding the front door, and one of them was already being like, that's fucked, man. The other guy's like, no, let it be. And Isaac can get through this guy. And the one line that throws at him is like, more of your people are leaving and joining us. None of us are leaving to join you. That's why we're going to win. Because we have arrows, we have rifles, and you have some, automatic weapons. But like, nah, our endurance. And as soon as that happens, Isaac flips out and the guy is ready with the hand. But like, go for it. And the look on Isaac's face of like, fuck. Like, he
can't break him.
And boom, shoots him. And lo and behold, rookie from 2018, just like, yup, animals. How'd that go for you guys?
Honestly, he looked like a whole different person in that scene. I didn't realize it until I think it was you that pointed it out. You're like, oh, it's the same guy. And I'm like, bro, you're tripping. And they zoomed in on his face. I'm like, oh, shit.
Are you talking about Jeffrey, right?
Nah, I'm talking about the dude he molded.
The kid.
Buddy boy.
Yeah, his whole disposition, the way he carried himself, like, it's weird.
Completely different person. Yeah, I didn't realize it actually until I watched it behind the scenes. I think Craig or Neil said it. I was like, oh shit, that is the same fucking guy from the beginning.
Like the way he carries himself, his hair, like the dude's just entirely different. I just got thrown off.
Yeah. His whole aura changed. Yeah.
Not the aura.
He definitely was sipping that Kool-Aid, but. I mean, the thing that kind of threw me off was, and I might be wrong, isn't this the first full nudity in this series? Is there any other situation where you have? Well, no, I'm saying just in general, like there's no, I mean, yeah, we've had like random sex scenes and random stuff.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I think this actually was.
Sure it is.
And the way they handled it, I was like, that left me feeling like crap. I don't know how he's going to actually torture him. I was like, is he going to pull a James Bond with this? Is he going to pour stuff on him? Like I love the fact that how they handled that, because it shows mentally what he's not willing to do.
As long as he's not slipping it, yeah.
It's I mean, I think if he felt like he could break the kid, he probably would. I don't think that he would hold back to do anything. That's one of the things I realized in his first scene, and this scene was no different. The difference was this was somebody that had nothing to lose, and even if they did, it didn't matter. And it was definitely like this cat and mouse game. Yeah. But no, they filmed it really well. It's so weird because if you never seen The Last of Us and you just saw this random scene, you wouldn't even know what show you're watching. And I think the closest I've seen something like that was like Samuel Jackson when he was a he wasn't an interrogator, but yeah, he kind of was, and it was something that he was doing with the torture scene, and he had like the guy's kids, and he was threatening to like torture the kids, and like that. This was what that reminded me of, and I was like, ugh, this is terrifying. But it was a really well done scene.
Yeah, I think outside of Bill and Frank, and again, nudity that not in relation to romance, but like, yeah, this might have been the one that like, yeah, you see vulnerability down to the inch and stuff. Yeah. So we cut back to Ellie and Dina, and you see that they make their way to the tower. That again, it's fascinating in daylight and nighttime. God damn it. You took it that way. Anyways, you see that the bodies are hanging, if you will, and like are all like plugged up and out, which again, right out of the game. And you see the sense of like perspective where like, oh, who would do this? And it just pans. You see the blood, and you see "Feel Her Love" on the wall, and it's Ellie lined up like, yo, it was that group that we found. That's their insignia. They did this. And Dina's line, the fuck is wrong with Seattle? And see the wolf come in, and it's again full on stealth mode, like right down to the gameplay. And even again, making a podcast, they said, oh yeah, this is the closest we've been trying to get of like why they put the things outside the window, why there's blood stain, the talk of like, if there's wolf there, they're not the people we're looking for. Do we kill them? And we do. And and you guys are throwing me off with this private chat. Anyways, Ellie and Dina try their best. They take some guy down stealth mode, but they gotta shoot their way out, and they find themselves in a place that gets worse. And I love, folks, I normally don't do this, but I tell people, go watch the reaction I dropped on my channel. Fucking Sam's timing is perfect, because we get to that place and we realize, oh my gosh, we're in the tunnels. And Sam, without missing a beat, says, as soon as I see red, I'm turning this off. And as soon as the last syllable left of his tongue, I just see a flare go up, and I just like, fucker, there it is. And and we all know what this means if we play the games.
Mm-hmm.
And again, echolocation. Yeah. And you're like, oh fuck, there's a horde here. And again, showing this almost like the anti-Wizard of Oz for Ellie and Dina, where they step out of the door and it's not black and white anymore, it's color, and it's like, you're not in Jackson anymore, you're in Seattle now. This is what a taste of the rest of the world might be like. And they got to get their asses out of here. And there's clickers roaming around, they're trying to escape. And we get to this scene, which I was like, oh shit. But I was very curious. Okay, there's no spores right now, no gas mask, so what's gonna happen? And Ellie decides to be the shield for the love of her life, gets bit again, defending Dina, and they gotta make their way out. Before we get to the next sequence, how do we feel about the tension of that building where the bodies were hanging, getting a vibe of gameplay, and now we gotta get the fuck out of the subways? And how they held another element of the infected ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, this was the scene that I was talking about earlier, where I was like, yeah, these motherfuckers like love this game. They played this game, because this was literal gameplay. Like, I felt like there hasn't really been anything in the show that's made me feel like, wow, like I feel like I'm playing the game right now. Like, this is straight gameplay. Like, they've done a great job of recreating cutscenes and stuff. But my big complaint about season 1 was like, okay, but they cut out all the gameplay just to get to the story moments. This episode was tons of gameplay moments, and this was the one where I was like, dude, this is unbelievable how good this is. Like, even like how you just hear them, like, it's the same, like, oh, fucking cut them down or whatever, talking about the buys and everything, and they're all off screen, and you're just paying attention to like Ellie and Dina and them kind of like trying to sneak around, and like they're looking, like peeking over cover. You see the dude walking, like, oh fuck, and then you kind of duck back. Bro, all I was waiting for was a little noises like the and then like the bomb. Like, I was like, dude, I'm gonna scream, I'm gonna flip out. But like, I was just waiting for that. I was like, this is literally straight gameplay. It was unbelievable. And then, yeah, that the TV station is always one of like those locations that really stuck with me in the game, because yeah, I mean, you just walk into a room, there's a bunch of fucking people hanging with their intestines cut out. You're like, what is what the fuck's going on in Seattle? What is happening? So the fact that they nailed that too, and Craig said how important of a shot that was for him. Like he spent so much time just getting that shot right. I even liked that it was at nighttime. I thought it made it creepier too.
Yeah.
So I loved that because I think that's one of the best gameplay sequences in the game too. That whole sneaking out of there, then you get chased down in the tunnels and all that. I mean, really like that. This little stretch of the episode right here is really some of the best stuff in the entire show, in my opinion. Because that Jeffrey Wright scene is like one of my favorite scenes in the show. And then these action sequences are some of my favorite scenes in the show. So like this whole middle section of the episode is like, dude, this is fucking phenomenal. I was like, this is unbelievable. Like they are killing it. Like even the staircase is going up to that exact spot in the game with like the little like I was like, this is just, it's insane. Like how
the arrows, dude, on the body.
and then when they walk in, the dude, I was like, oh my god, that's like as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh dude, this is gonna be nuts. This is gonna be insane. Then even the radio on the dude going off, I was like, yeah, they're just killing this scene. And then that whole subway sequence too. I mean, just phenomenal. I mean, the only thing we kind of hinted at it, bro, if Shambler was there, I mean, I don't know what I would have done, man. That would have been like perfect.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're kind of saving it like how they saved the bloater for season 1. I feel like they might have a big build up. Yeah. To the Shambler. I think that's kind of like what they're doing. And then that whole remixing the Dina moment
reveal.
I thought worked really well. Like as soon as I saw that escalator, I was like, "Oh, we're doing that." Okay.
Yeah.
But all right. I was like, we're here. So it was. It's like they cut a lot out of day 1, but like nothing really super significant that I missed. Only spot I was like, maybe would have liked to have seen like the school because I always like that school fight. But yeah, it's like I think the pacing so far has been really really good. Day 1 they hit like the big beats I'd want them to hit, and that whole middle section of the episode, like I said, is like some of the best stuff in the entire show in my opinion. I was just like in awe the whole time.
I know someone who's been in awe of the details of this show. That's Ty. How you doing, Ty?
What's going on, good people? Sorry for being late. New phone, new issues, but I'm definitely excited to be here. And talk about this episode wherever I can. I don't want to backtrail you guys, so I'm going to catch up.
No, we just hit. The characters did the subway sequence, the flare, Sam's timing of like if I see red, I'm fucking done.
Right,
and and Ellie and Dina finally like Ellie having to like put her secret in the line to defend Dina's life and all. How did you guys feel about that as well?
Yeah, there's a rarity when you have something. I mean, a lot of people would say that The Last of Us 2 is a masterpiece. Whether you hate the story thread or not, the framing of it, they would call it a gaming masterpiece. And when you play the game, when you get to this point, you don't know how it's gonna go. Like you're just like, this is a worst case scenario, and you're either fight or flight, and you realize at a certain point you can't fight your way out of this situation, even no matter how good you are. And when that is translated to an adaptation standpoint, you're like, they would never be able to get this as good as the game did it. They did. Like they found a way of not just allowing the stakes to be sufficient for us that are gamers, but also non-gamers to feel like, crap, how's this going to be paced? How's this going to go? Like, how are we going to transition out of this? And they kept building and building and building. And dude, I just really appreciated how Craig and Neil have collaborated to make something very amazing that really shouldn't work on paper, to be honest with you. I don't know how they're making this work, but they are absolutely doing the daggone thing. And this scene or scenes in transition were just amazing. I mean, without going into too much detail.
So what I definitely want to emphasize for the red flare scene is simply the scale. You didn't really get that scale in the game, it was very World War Z kind of scale. Like, like I was thinking about when they were shutting the door, and I remember in the game you shut that door and it's that one clicker, and then in the show you shut the door and it's like a rack of them coming at you. And I just absolutely appreciated the actual scale that they put into that particular that red flare scene. And then the changes that occurred at the Rusty turnstile. I like the differences they put in there.
Yeah. Again, folks, that's something that's gonna be said more times than often. That like you're gonna see stuff that we're familiar with, and some stuff that is a remix, and on a rare occasion, some stuff that's new to us, and that's the friction, the meeting of both sides. That's fascinating to me. And but we'll get to that later down or at another episode. But I know that a couple of us have to head out. They got to take care of some maintenance stuff. So Sam, Busy, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us and geek out about the Outbreak World. Please, each of you, starting with Busy, plug yourself. Where can people find you?
Everywhere, Busy Braun, and then on Team JVS's channel, dropping reviews, and then on Ronan Unchained's channel, doing reactions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sam?
Yeah, you guys, we are everywhere. There is a teamjvs.com website. We're on YouTube primarily with most of our focused reviews, discussions, interviews, but we're also making waves on TikTok. If you want to see any animation or anime reviews, those are also on TikTok. And I co-lead Balls and Bricks with Ronan. But tonight I'm just out of it. I don't know if it was the quartersteps or if it was something else, but I've got to go. Thank you guys for having me. Ty, thank you for showing up, bro. I'll be back next time, for real.
It's all good. Take care, man.
All right, good night, y'all.
See you, bro.
All right, so now we get out of the damn subway, and the first thing that we hit, boom, get the damn theater to do it. And again, it's like, whew.
Yeah.
Again, foundational, laying the groundwork for this. And to me, this is one of the most like sad scenes that was again enhanced by my experience with this show. Is seeing Dina scared and almost, again, those shots leading up to the moment, her being in denial and mourning Ellie already, and Ellie again nonchalant, like, okay, I brought it up, we're good to go. We got to just do this, and next thing you know, lined up and ready. And even in lined up, she's sad, being, oh my gosh, I have to say goodbye to her. And Ellie being like, oh fuck, this is what this means. And her racing to say the right words, right tone to get it to Dina. I am not gonna die. Don't shoot me. And Dina saying, why the fuck did you have to do this? I'm like, don't make it harder on me. And I love that again. She's saying, like, I'm gonna go sit my ass over there. You're gonna sit right over the fuck over there, point the gun as long as you want. If I turn, shoot me, but that's not gonna happen. And I love how even she says, like, listen, I would die for you. I would, but this is not happening right now. And again, the weight of Bella's timing, Isabella's giving us everything she's got in the tank. And I thought, okay, this is all you got left in the tank for this episode. This is good enough. I'll run with this. And hours go by. Ellie wakes up because of drops. She's like, argh. And I love that she was like, no, I'm not turning. Freaking water in my eyes. And showcases that, look, see, I'm not shaking. I'm okay. And whatnot. And in a very like Spielberg way, I love the shot of just, we don't see Dina's face. We just see the gun and the light. And it's almost the curiosity and the shield up. And you just seeing Ellie just trying to like relax and be like, please don't shoot me. Please don't shoot me. I told you. See? You see? And eventually Dina turns the light off. And you see how tired she is and how like this is the whiplash look. It's like, okay, she's gonna be okay. But now she just showed me her cards. I gotta show her mine. Oh fuck. Ellie, I'm pregnant. And again, a quick shot of Ellie being like, wait, what? And then there's no mañana. I said on the reaction, there's no mañana, and they let it out. They go all in on Texas Hold'em, and they hit a flush, and they let it out, and even the waking up was cute as hell. I'm like, oh my god! And again, this is it's weird, fucked up, but honest. The whole again, because I love what Isabel's been doing. She's very lovely, and the whole time I was like, yeah, Ellie, get it, Ellie. I was like, yeah, go get it, like, and the fact that happened, I know a couple of us were mixed on like the tone and timing. To me, if they weren't gonna do the smoking weed and like in the middle of a blizzard, we're gonna go downtown. This felt organic, where it's you've told me everything you could have held back. That you being gay is not a secret, but you being immune, this is what you were closeted about. And her throughout the whole journey, from the first throw up to then now, it's like, I've been pregnant. I haven't been able to tell you this because I don't want to be a burden of baggage. And they let it all out, and I just thought that was beautiful. And I can only imagine how proud, emotional this must have been for the LGBTQ plus community. So shout out to them. Shout out to Belly, as people were, I think, now calling them. I thought that was very sweet. And again, let it all out, like the violence in this world. What do you guys think of this reveal, balance of trust and whatnot, and then full-on commitment?
You wanna go at it, Gianni, or you want me to take it?
You could take it, bro.
Okay. So I only in a apocalyptic world would that scenario, in my opinion, work, because any normal sense of decency or anything that would, in essence, just be considered normal, just doesn't work. Hey, I just revealed the biggest secret that could probably saved all of us from the doom and destruction that we've got. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm knocked up. Like, it just doesn't. Only in this particular, and honestly, when you said it, Ronan, like no mañana, I was like, okay, this is where it works. This is literally this is YOLO right here. This is straight YOLO, But the only other piece that kind of justifies it is it's because right after she finishes performing Take on Me, you can literally see, and this is what I love Isabella for, not to backtrail, but in this moment,
Please do.
She literally looks at her and says, you've been practicing. That moment, you knew she was down like 4 flats. She was in love with Bella, which is why she was so emotional, having to put that gun to her head, and why. And you can even tell that was not just her moment. You can tell it was Ellie's moment, because I think that her reaction to her playing the guitar is when they probably fell in love with each other truly, because like you said, the first thing she said with that gun to her face is, I would die for you. It's literally the first set of things that come out of her mouth. And the fact that she's not saying, don't shoot me, I'm immune. The first thing that comes out of her mouth is, I would die for you, but I'm not going to turn. And I absolutely love that moment, especially, and the play on the heterosexual aspect of it, when she's like, we're going to have a baby, I'm going to be a dad. That,
yeah.
And for me, it was like, you're playing on that theme, but then she's also like, you could also tell the undertone is, I'm about to be Joel. And I absolutely loved it. Like, she was excited. It's almost like she was excited to be what Joel was to her, because that was the closest thing she has to a father, and I think she's even feeling it more since all of this she's doing is because we lost Joel. So absolutely great scene. The Bellas are killing it right now on the screen, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I I had an interesting reaction to it because I feel like at first I saw the episode twice today because I watched it by myself and I watched it with my parents. The first time I watched it, I thought the whole "I'm pregnant" and then they just go at it. I thought it was really jarring because I thought the same thing too. I was like, I thought about it from like my perspective. I was like, if I kind of just had like a situation like that with my girlfriend, I was like, I don't think that would like oh let's go at it now. I was like, that's kind of a very jarring swap of tones, and I wasn't really sure how I felt about it the first time I watched it. And then I thought back to the game, and I was like, in the game, it's a very dark, intense conversation they have. And then I thought it was interesting how in the show they made it a much more kind of light, positive, uplifting conversation. I think that'll probably be better off in the long run. So when stuff starts happening down the road, it kind of makes it a little bit more heartbreaking. Where I don't know, in the game, it's very dark and heavy. So I don't know. The first time I watched it, honestly, the whole ending of the episode didn't really work too well for me. I thought it felt a little like, I don't know, like it just felt almost like I was watching a different show for a second. Like it was almost, I guess, too happy and encouraging. I guess I don't know. Like it kind of caught me off guard. And then when I watched it a second time, it worked a lot better for me. So now I'm kind of just like, okay, like, and then I watched behind the scenes and stuff, and Bella was like, oh well, when like it's just almost like a primal, like you're that angry fighting for your life, kind of like, oh don't shoot me, all that, and then for that to kind of be released all at the same time makes sense. And I was like, I guess. And then, yeah, like you said, Ronan, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So, like, yeah, I get it. It just, the first time I saw it, I was like, I don't know how well this is playing for me. And then I rewatched it and I was like, okay. Like, now that I know that it's coming this way, like, it's playing out this way, I was like, okay, like, I don't love it, but I think it worked better on the second time. One thing I thought was really interesting was when I was watching it with my parents and when Dina pulls the gun on Ellie, my dad was like, oh no. So I think it's just hilarious now that I think after they kill Joel, I think the casual viewer is like anything can fucking happen to anybody at any time. Yeah. So I thought that was hilarious. Or like my dad was like, wait, no, oh my god. Like they just show Dina pointing the gun. I was like, no. I was like, I think it's hilarious that Craig and Neil just have people in fucking shambles right now where they don't like, they're just like, yeah, Ellie could get capped right now. Like, she could just die right now. Like, and that's just what's going to happen. And then, take Bella's name out of the credits and there's going to be no spores at the end of the credits. There's going to be Dina now in Seattle by herself. Like, so I thought that was really funny to kind of see how somebody who has no idea about the game or anything reacted to that. That, like, people are on edge watching the show now. Like, they really believe that anything can happen to anyone at any time. So I think mission accomplished to them on that part, too, which I just thought that was a funny reaction. But yeah, I mixed on that scene a little bit, but the second time I watched it, it's growing on me. I do love the chemistry between Bella and Isabella, though. I think they're phenomenal together. And the I'm going to be a dad moment made me laugh both times. I thought that was a really funny line. So I did really like that. And then, yeah, I didn't really think about it that way either, Ty, with like she's kind of filling Joel's shoe. And that's a really good point, too. It kind of makes me like the scene a little bit more, too. I didn't really think about it from that angle. So yeah, the more I think about it, the more I like it. But the first time it just caught me off guard, like, oh, okay, we're just, we're fucking now. Okay. I was like, okay. It caught me a little off guard, but it's the more it's settling in, the better I'm feeling about it.
Yeah, I remember a friend of ours was like, the door, this infected, what about Wolf and whatnot? And I'm like, hey man, like again, it's
get it while you can.
It's right now, or I kept saying it. There's no mañana, so it's like it's either now or never. And the fact that even they had a time to spend that following morning, and Ellie has the biggest grin on her face, like she hasn't been this happy in a long time, and it's like the rubber band being like, finally, it was either said or done. And to hear even Dina's perspective of how long she's been like this. Mm-hmm. And again, it's both, dudes and girls, and seeing how the burden of her family and how their perspective came about, and how, to me, the part that was like really got me was like, I just didn't know when to be or to be me, or whatever, either to be
just
or
I was stuck or something.
Yeah. and then she tried that she really likes. I love that she even said it. She really likes Jesse, but he's not the one. That's
Right.
anybody who's been in love or who has love, we know that like that's the sucky part about love. Sometimes the stars don't align as much as you want them to.
Mhm.
And I appreciate that. Like even the whole thing of like, again, Dina saying, I was already processing mourning you, losing you, the life I wanted to have with you, and now we don't have to, but now I'm pregnant. And I don't even know if you want that. And I love Ellie being like, I want it with you. And I was like, oh,
Yeah, that made me tear up when she said that though. That was another great line. That was sweet.
Beautiful.
That was awesome.
And again, very Dina, like the mouth, like, no, we gotta eat beef jerky to like get the smell better. And I think T has a comment, and the moment of realization by Ellie when she says she's going to be a dad, a perspective she's never experienced before. And I go into it further without spoiling. I know what you mean. Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
And again, go ahead, Johnny.
I was just say one thing I forgot to mention with the whole like hand not shaking thing. Without spoiling the game, where we're going in the next episode, the handshaking thing, I kind of think that's also going to come back in an interesting way because that's another like really iconic shot for me. Like after, I'm tiptoeing on ice right now, but for people that play the game, the whole handshaking thing, when she said, "Look, my hand's not shaking," she's holding it out. I'm like, man, if we get that shot next episode or whatever, I'm like, that's gonna hit. Like it's all the little things that just put up on the board that's just like, it's great.
Even the way, I mean, most of you guys felt the jarriness of like sudden sex. There's something in the game that a lot of people for a while were like, "Wow, okay, we're going with that now. Okay, cool." And so
that's true. Actually, it's actually pretty similar. Yeah. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that is true.
Oh my god. It just dawned on me.
Which in the game at first I was like, "Whoa, okay," for what we're referencing. Yeah. But then, like even over time, as much as they still have conflict with the character and the story, I've come to accept that and not mind it because thematically the significance of that that happening, and which again leads up to the difference between the game and the show. How this scene, Ellie has time or has the thought process of processing the stakes now. She's in love, she's in a relationship, and she's expecting a kid. Where does that put her? And I love that the shot, I don't have it right now, but it's on Ellie, and she's doing the math, and she just turns to, like, you don't have to go. I can just do this on my own. And Dina, like, fuck you. Like, no, I'm not saying I don't think you're capable, but now everything's changed. We're playing a new game now. We're playing a game beforehand. Now we're playing 5D chess. We're not playing just chess or 2 chess, 3D chess. We're playing 5D chess.
It's not just two lives anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. And I love how different the game is, where Ellie, in a way, Ellie now is learning from Dina. Thinking before you take the first step or say the word. She's thinking about like, okay, what if this and this and this happens? And I love how she even leaves the choice to Dina. And Dina says, no, together. And again, that goes with the shift of Dina being closer to Joe now in this version, which I think in the game she cared and liked Joe, but it was never a highlight like it is in the show. And how much, for those who I won't say it, but like let's just say that like there's a reason why Joe meant a lot to Dina, and it's the foundation layer that like leaves that choice. Like, no, we're here, we're gonna go all the way, and then we'll go home. And for me, I dug the last shot because Ellie takes a deep breath of like, okay, onward to day 2.
Yeah.
What were we gonna say, Johnny?
I was just thinking, like, because even earlier in this episode too, I forgot to mention it, where like before they go to the TV station, Ellie's ready to just go when she sees the WLF like printed up on the little dish, and she's ready to go. And Dean's like, all right, well, let's wait a second. Like, it's broad daylight. They have the high ground. We're gonna be riding up on horse. They're advertising that they're there, so that means there's a shit ton of them, and they're probably ready for us if we go there. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's true. Like, all right, let's not do that. So I just really like the constant like back and forth between them, and then like the role reversal, like you said, of Ellie kind of being like, well, now I don't know if you're fully thinking about the situation. Like you're pregnant. We know this now. Like you going out in this was bombs going off and shit like in the street. Like it's different now than it was like a day ago when we had no idea. So I did like that a little bit. The only like nitpick I would have with the ending, and I don't know if they'll play into it more, is like I feel like we kind of glossed over the whole Ellie being immune thing pretty quick. There's not a lot of recognition of that, and I feel like that's a very big thing. But that's like the only thing. I mean, and I guess when I think back to the scene in the game, it's not like a super big thing, but like I don't know. I just felt like it kind of got glossed over a little bit more than it did in the game here, because they really focus on the pregnant thing, which I understand too. But that was like the only slight nitpick I have with that whole ending thing. Is she's just like, oh, okay, you're immune. How's your wound? And oh, chemical burn. Okay. I did like the joke of like, oh, I really want to wear like short sleeves again too. Like I thought that was funny also, but like I just thought that was a gloss over a little quick, and I don't know if we'll go back to it. We might, but I don't know. That was just like a little nitpick I had.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. A couple things on that. So I like the change because, like you said, Gianni, the conversation was a little dark when Ellie found out that Dina was pregnant, but I kind of like how they flipped this because if you think about it, do you want them to really have that dark conversation like in that kind of mood after they have literally been through wolves, cordyceps, and people hanging with their intestines? Just like they went through some stuff. They went through some darkness to get to that light. And what I like is how they played that. Like they took them through some serious dark places, heavy rain, no kind of light. And then after all of that, when Ellie wakes up, she's got the light on her. And then like you see, not only is Ellie kind of going through this, hoping not to be killed or lose Dina, Dina's going through it with the hope that she doesn't lose Ellie. And you can tell, you can see it in the thing of her eyes. She's been up all night watching this, waiting for a moment's notice to pull the trigger. And when it doesn't happen, it's like the hope just flowed over her and she just bore everything. And now it's like there's hope for Ellie, hope for her, hope with this child. And if you notice, as it changes from all that dark, all that rain and everything to a nice, open, sunny day, and they're now facing this new day with hope. And Ellie does take that Joel role with Dina, but what I love what they did with this versus the game is this isn't just, Joel's daughter and, Joel's daughter's girlfriend. It's like, these are his two girls. These are like the two girls that filled the void when he lost his daughter. Ellie more so than Dina, but Dina kind of came in and she was that other daughter, and she was as close to Joel. That's why she was like together, because she's got skin in this game too, which is what I like in the show versus the game. Dina's in it for Ellie, but in the show, Dina's also in it for herself. She's in it for Ellie too, but she's like, Joel didn't just mean everything to Ellie. He meant something to her too. So I kind of like that they changed the shift from well, I don't know what we're gonna do. You're pregnant. It's kind of like, it's like being a young guy and your girl tells you that she's late and you gotta kind of that dark mood, like your life is over, versus after everything we just went through, after running and gunning, killing wolves, seeing people hung, dealing in a dark metro area with cordyceps, and me getting bitten in front of you and you putting the gun to my head, and you like, now there's a little bit of hope. Now we have another reason to get back to Jackson, not just to finish this, but to start this new life that has been presented. So I kind of like how they shifted it. And if you kind of notice, they go through that kind of process in the show where it gets a little light, then it gets super dark, super heavy, super dangerous. At any moment's notice, their hope could be gone, because you get that lighted background. That's like their calm before the storm when she's playing Take on Me. Then they go through the storm and it's like, hey, you made it to the other side. And guess what? You have now this opportunity to start a peaceful life, and you now have another reason where it's like, yeah, we're still focused on getting these people that killed Joel, but there's now something on the other end of it. That's why most people tell you revenge doesn't solve anything. There's nothing after revenge. What happens when you're done? Now they have that answer. We go handle this and then we go live out our lives and raise this child. So I kind of like how they changed it a bit.
And
Even
it also kind
whether-
of shows, my bad. I was saying it also kind of just shows that like now they also have something to lose, or like maybe before Ellie didn't really have much to lose. Like Joel was pretty much it. Like that was it. Now all of a sudden she has a girlfriend. They have a baby on the way. Now she has everything to lose. Where before she really didn't have that much to lose. I don't really think she gave a fuck if she died. She even said in the show, like in this episode, like sometimes I wish that I wouldn't like. After I got bit, like sometimes I wish I wouldn't wake up and be me and be fine in the morning. So it's like on this mission, she was pretty much like, if I die, like whatever, like it's pretty much it.
Dude,
Now she has everything to lose.
I love that even Dina for this, like ask about the burn mark. You did this to yourself. Again, we've been talking about self-harm these past few episodes and what that means. The burn mark, the cutting of the stomach to make sure that the bite isn't shown. Like.
Yeah.
A lot to still talk about with those moments of someone enduring. And I love how Ty's comment about like even the weather is telling the story of mood and quote unquote, pun intended, atmosphere.
That's a great observation. Yeah.
Yeah, I really dug that. And the vegetation, and you see when stuff is lived in, when things is crumbling, the bones in the subway, how it feels even like Dante's Inferno when you go there. It was, I love the crew. Anybody who's worked on this show, each of these episodes, give yourself a round of applause because we're seeing it. We're seeing the blood, sweat, and tears and the timing. I mean, Craig said it. Coming up with ideas and the concepts, great. Executing, is tough as hell to do. And there's a reason why it took about a year or two to come back to it. Like, because if you want it to feel and look this good, they got to do it. They got to take their time and do it. And, I'm here all for it. We're going to wrap things up because I think we've said a lot of the stuff that we want to say. I'll leave it to you, to both of y'all. Any final thoughts and anything you'd want out of the next week's episode? And I don't know if you watched the, on the next week of The Last of Us.
I always do. So, I mean, I don't really know if I want to go into like that just in case people haven't. I don't want to like spoil what could be upcoming, but I actually think they kind of gave too much away in the little preview for next week's episode, so I'm not going to really say anything about that too much. I'll just say like we've been talking about like Ellie trying to fill Joel's shoes and stuff, and one thing I noticed also, like little mini details of that in this episode, is like when she's in the TV station trying to like stealth kill the dude, she goes straight for Joel's move of like choking him out and like trying to break his neck instead of like just doing the little like shank to the throat that she does in the video game. So I thought that was kind of interesting too, where she's trying to do Joel's move, it's not really working, she gets in trouble, Dina bails her out, and then she just has to kind of like shank him and move on with that. And then just little things like that. And there's a lot of foreshadowing going on, just setting up a lot of future things for this season and beyond that I think are really interesting, just to kind of see all the chips kind of start to get aligned. I think there's another observation I have with like a Joel similarity thing, but I kind of just forgot it on the spot. But it's just I'm very interested to see how they're gonna tackle the next couple days of Seattle. Like how are we gonna go about that? What's gonna be in there? What's not gonna be in there? Who's gonna show up? Who's not gonna show up? Stuff like that. So overall, like I said, I think the middle chunk of this episode is like some of the best stuff we've gotten in the entire show. So I'm very excited to see what we got coming up in next week's episode.
Yeah, so one thing I do appreciate about Neil Druckmann is that he works in potential finality, right? So like when he did part 1, you know, if you never had a part 2, you could walk away from The Last of Us with an ending. You know, they did part 2, you could kind of walk away from part 2 of the game because it's an ending. And here we are now, we're halfway through. It's kind of all downhill from here. I thought this episode was a great episode to be like, you know, if they wanted to do like a break, or they wanted like let's say they were going to do like another season, you know, and like this would have been the good break, you know. So he's very good at that. The what I'm looking for, kind of looking forward to two things. One, um I'm hoping they do a particular flashback because of what Ellie says when she was looking inside the tank. So I'm wondering if they're going to do that flashback, because if you notice, there are other little things that are identified around her old room and in Joel's house that, you know, that leans to something that is very important to
Meaningful.
To Ellie. So I'm hoping they do that. The other thing is I'm actually hoping to see if they're going to introduce a certain royal figure into the upcoming episodes, and if that's going to be, you know, the pièce de résistance, if you will. Because if they introduce that royal figure, I am probably going to be like this the whole time. Like, yeah,
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. When you
so,
said royal, I'm like, wait.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They introduce that certain royal entity, I'm probably going to be like this the whole time. Like, yeah. But I think if it comes to a head, that's certainly going to be it. And I know I said 2, but I'm actually wondering if they're going to do that scene with Abby that I can't stand. If they do that scene, I'm gonna be shocked, you know. But
It's HBO, so
it's HBO. Anybody can get it. I mean, you know, this show is basically a post-apocalyptic Game of Thrones. So it's like anybody can get it. But I certainly love the episode. I'm looking forward to the next 4 episodes, and I'm looking to see how they take us. You know, we're at the top peak of the roller coaster. I want to see what they're going to do as we do the free for all the way down. So yeah, great stuff, great content so far from the show. Kudos to the creators and the participators.
I agree. Folks, that's going to be this week's episode of Bottles and Breaks, a Last of Us podcast. Never mind. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut of stuff that's coming down the pipeline. But in the meantime, Gianni, Ty, thank you so much for hanging out and geeking out about The Last of Us. We're gonna go down the line and plug yourself, tell where people find you, and if what you're tuning in for next week. So let's start with Ty.
So you can find me at what you see there at Ty Nady on your Instagrams and your Degeneration X, formerly known as Twitter. Still, I'm in the final stages of my YouTube debut, so I'm just working on some structure for that. But other than that, just keep watching and keep enjoying the content that we're bringing you.
Nice, Johnny.
You can find me at Johnny Bravo 6, YouTube and Twitch. I usually stream more on Twitch than I've been making like YouTube stuff, but over the past few weeks I haven't really been doing too much, but Twitch is more of my gaming stuff, YouTube's more of my movie and show stuff, so depending on what you want, go to those different channels, and then on all social medias I'm pretty much Johnny Bravo 6, so yep.
You're on mute, Ronan.
Mute. Yeah, folks, please spread the word. Spread the word. The more this grows, the more I've been saying this since last season of both the show and the podcast. I want to start having more people like our friend Elise from Brazil. I want to have people from Japan, from Europe, from the Middle East, from all across the board. Like if you're a Last of Us fan and you do videos and you're enthusiastic and you're engaging and you have constructive thoughts on the show, on the franchise, I am more than happy to check out your stuff. And if the vibe is well, we'll have you on the podcast. I want this show to grow and grow and grow. And to, again, more than anything else, just let the creators, both at Naughty Dog and the HBO crews, know that, like, we're watching stuff. We're not just, ooh, interesting thing, get the popcorn out. It's like, no, we're doing that and making sure that we catch stuff that you're doing and spreading the word out to get people to watch the show more and more, because you need to finish the story, and then that way, once that's said and done, who knows what that leads for the franchise left onwards. But as I've always said in every stream we've done, to the edge of the universe and back, endure and survive. Take care, everyone. Have a good night. Bye-bye.